Let's talk about PTSD. We've talked for years about what it means to support the troops, whether it means putting a ribbon on your car, is that supporting the troops, or is sending the troops into harm's way based on faulty intelligence or false pretenses or for revenge or for other reasons? Is that supporting the troops, or is supporting the troops not sending the troops into harm's way when it doesn't make sense, or providing them with medical care when they come back from battle, etc.? Well, a spokesperson from the Southern Baptist Convention has now lashed out at a so-called historian who radio host Glenn Beck hired to teach at his online university after he interpreted a Bible passage to mean that members of the armed forces, if they were truly fighting from the side of God, on the side of God, they simply wouldn't suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Check out what he had to say.
Moses said unto them, if you will do this thing, so this is a promise, if you will do this thing, if you will go armed before the Lord to war, and will go all of you armed over Jordan before the Lord, until he hath driven out his enemies before him, and the land shall be subdued before the Lord, then afterward, article number 1, you shall return. You coming back.
You're coming back.
And be guiltless before the Lord and before the nation.
Yep.
Now, any of you suffering from PTSD right now, you listen to me.
That's right.
You get rid of that right now. You don't take drugs to get rid of it. It doesn't take psychology. That promise right there will get rid of it.
So this was an appearance on Veterans Day on Believer's Voice of Victory, and televangelist Kenneth Copeland told the historian David Barton that the Numbers 32 verse that says soldiers shall return and be guiltless before the Lord means if you truly go to war on the side of God, you simply won't have PTSD. So the Southern Baptist Convention's Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, they have a spokesperson named Joe Carter, and he told Religious News Service that this is absolutely ridiculous, that Barton and Copeland have a track record of being profoundly ignorant about theology and history. And I have to tell you, I agree with the Southern Baptist Convention on this one. These guys are sitting there with their books. You see them in the video paging through the books, poring over the absurdity of the minutia of these texts. What about the soldiers who are believers and believe they are doing the godly thing by going over to Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever the case may be and still have PTSD? Lewis, were they simply not truly on the side of God, or do they simply not actually have PTSD?
I guess you'd have to ask these two clowns. It's insane, the pomposity here. They just hold this book and think that they have every answer in the world, sitting there in their studios. I'd like to see what happens to them if they were to enter a battle zone.
Yeah, I mean, I thought conservatives supported the troops. That's what they say. But they don't even consider PTSD as something that requires real attention. All you need to know is Numbers 32. If you're on the side of God, then it doesn't matter what happens to you when you're out there in whatever field of battle you find yourself in. You won't have PTSD. And this really is not about PTSD, Lewis. PTSD is simply a catalyst to try to indoctrinate soldiers into this extremist and kind of fact-free worldview. It's abundantly clear from watching this video, neither one of these guys really cares about PTSD.
Probably not. It also appears after watching this video that it seems like ignorance might truly be bliss.